Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Marc Rizzo, and you're listening to the Nothing Shocking podcast. Crank it up.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're putting the band back together.
The numbers all go to 11.
I'm talking about bands that rock. Led Zeppelin. What about Sabbath? AC/DC. Motorhead.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
I get up off the ground and raise my head. Days like this, think I should be dead. One for Satan, two for me. Let's cheat the devil, it's fun, don't you agree?
Welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeff Untied, and with me in Dog Bowl Studios is
Coach Nez.
You can find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Libsyn or any podcatchers. Like our Facebook page or follow us on Twitter at NoShockPod.
You can also find the Nothing Shocking podcast on Rock Rage Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. Our sponsor is Ragged Records, located in downtown Rock Island, Illinois, and downtown Davenport, Iowa. We would like to thank the Hong Kong Sleepover for allowing us to use their music for our intro and bumper ending. Tonight's guest is
Marc Rizzo of Hail of Horns,
former lead guitarist of Soulfly and El Nino. He's promoting the new release, or the one single from Hail of Horns, the God of Thunder cover.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Kiss classic. So if you haven't heard that cover yet, you can find it on YouTube or probably
check it out.
Yeah, any service, streaming service. Check it out. Fantastic. What an intriguing interview Mark was.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get to this interview.
All right, good night.
Good night. Hey, Mark, welcome to the Nothing Shocking podcast. I'd like to introduce to you my co-host, Jeff Untied.
Mark, this is going to be fun to talk to you tonight.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Good.
Nice to meet you.
Well, hey, we want to thank you for agreeing to do this with us tonight and the correspondence with your PR people. It's been fantastic. We've been excited to get you on the podcast. So let's get this baby started. So with COVID-19 restrictions locking down the industry for over a year and a half, how did you keep yourself busy during the pandemic?
I was doing a lot of just live from home, Facebook live feeds, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram. I mean, you name it, I did it all. The good thing was that I was doing a lot of these live feeds about 5 years ago. So I was doing this and playing live from home, way before COVID. But once it hit and I was stuck home, man, I just went into, overdrive with all my live feeds and writing. I went right into writing mode, working on my new solo record and also writing for my new project Revenge Beast and also my new project Hail the Horns.
Oh, fantastic. We've seen a lot of artists that have done their work during the pandemic through Veeps and what have you, like you just said. With today's technology, and then especially now with the pandemic being what it is, do you see that this type of entertainment, I guess, doing these live feeds as being a supplemental income for artists from now on, whether it be a pandemic or not?
The ones that have been working it correctly and are able to monetize it, yes. I mean, from what I heard, there's some dudes are doing great with Twitch. So, the ones that are doing good, I'm very happy for them. I'm also trying to work the Twitch because it was a little confusing for me to understand how it works. But it seems like the people that jumped on it right away, they're doing really good with it.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
Have you ever done with your shows? Have you ever afterwards had like a meet and greet live kind of thing where people can ask questions right over the social media?
I do that all the time. Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, all my live feeds is basically me playing guitar, jamming along to backing tracks, my own tracks and other backing tracks and just talking with the fans. Like I don't really struggle with talking while I'm playing at the same time. So I make it like a Q&A while I'm playing at the same time. The fans really get a kick out of that.
Oh, that's
cool.
So fantastic. Yeah. Well, Hail the Horns is your most recent endeavor featuring yourself, Tony Campos, Christian Lawrence. Can you talk more about the band's origins?
This was a project that we've been talking about doing for a long time. I mean, Tony and I, when we were in Soulfly years ago, we always talked about doing something because we're buddies. And, we always go out, have a good time, and we always thought it would be cool as hell if we started a project and hit the road together. We're very similar, personality-wise. And the same with Opus. Opus has always played with me in my solo project for years now. He's been playing with me. And I also played with him in his band, Dead by Wednesday, did some recording and writing with him. So it just made sense, when this whole thing happened, we all had time to get out there and start planning a tour and shows. And Hail the Horns is, for now, it's going to be sort of more of a cover type band where we're going to go out and just play a lot of classic metal songs and songs from all the bands that we've been part of over the years.
Well, so cool. Yeah. I know that Godsize Records is the label for Hail the Horns. Can you talk a little bit more about the label, what their expectations are from you? I guess maybe just talk a little bit more about the whole process.
Yeah, Nick Bell is an awesome dude who was a huge help to me along with Opus during the pandemic. Nick and Opus basically got me back on the road back in February. Like, I was one of the first guys to hit the road during COVID. It was really cool that Nick was able to pull this off for me, and he got me to all the states that were open and kept me busy, gigging and get me back to making money from music. Because when COVID first hit, I had to get a day job, and I was working doing home renovations with a friend for about 6-7 months. And then Nick Bell basically stepped up to the plate and was like, "Hey man, I'm going to get you back out there." And he did it. And then, now he's starting his Godsize record company. And he released my newest solo record, which is a greatest hits of a compilation of all my heavy stuff called Living Shred, Volume 1. And he's going to release the Hail the Horns project, and I'm sure maybe even my new project, Revenge Beast. So he's just been a very supportive dude, man, and I really owe him a lot.
Oh, fantastic. Jeff, you want to take the next one, or you want me to take the next one?
Well, yeah, I was just going to ask you, you had just had a solo tour in August. Just wanted, you'd hit some places here pretty close to us, Pekin, Illinois, Lombard, Illinois. How did that tour go?
Really good, man. These are really sketchy times, obviously.
Yeah.
We're trying to get people to come out to shows, but I'm just playing like little bars, basically. The ones that are open, that are able to put on shows, and it's been good. It's just me going out there playing by myself, playing to a backing track, and I think once people see the show, they really get into it, and I make it affordable for the clubs and for ticket prices, and I think with everything going on right now, it's a great way to get out there and tour and make everything affordable for everybody.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
I want to kind of bring this back to Hail the Horns. The band released the cover of God of Thunder, which features Tony Campos on vocals. I guess when covering such an iconic song such as God of Thunder, the process of the song, and trying to make it your own and not be a copycat, of course. What kind of challenges did it bring towards you and the rest of the band?
It was pretty easy. You know, I personally, I'm not really a huge Kiss fan, but I do like God of Thunder. I do like the 70s era of Kiss with Ace Frehley. You know, I appreciate that era. Opus and Tony, they're fanatical Kiss fans. You know, they're a little older than me, so they grew up on it more than I did. But I think we did a cool version of it that's just heavier, modern, and I did some extra solos on it. And, you know, if you're a fan of Kiss, I think you'll definitely love the song.
Yes.
But we will do more soon. We plan on recording, you know, a bunch of other covers, you know, spicing them up, make them heavier, and then we are going to do originals. I mean, that's the plan. Eventually, you know, later on this year or maybe beginning of next year, we're going to get into the studio and start knocking out some originals too.
You know, we've talked to many artists when it comes to, you know, doing covers, and they have different thoughts and theories on it. And, you know, some artists will say straight up, I'm very intimidated to try to cover that song. When it comes to doing covers for you, and I guess God of Thunder as an example, and obviously you're a very accomplished guitar player, we all know that, but do you ever have a song that you would like to cover, but it's just kind of intimidating to kind of bring to the forefront for yourself?
Sure. There's a bunch. You know, it's just a matter of planning and practicing. And, you know, you really want to do, when you do a cover, you want to do it justice. I like to play it just like the original, get it note for note, but then also add something, maybe a little, you know, a little bit more interesting on top of it to make it not like the original. So it's just a matter of picking the right cover and having, you know, if there's vocals, and it has to be the right kind of vocals on top. You know, I mean, I think the best part of God of Thunder was Tony's interpretation of singing it, and it showcasing that Tony's not just a death metal growler, that he can hit notes and he can sing melodically, you know, with the growl. And that I didn't even know he could do that. So that opens up so many doors for us. And I think we're really, with the originals, we're going to showcase his vocals, his ability to sing a lot.
Oh, yeah. We're very impressed.
Yeah, I just want to take this back to your solo work a little bit. You just mentioned you have a new Living Shred Volume 1, Living Shred Volume 1, which is a compilation now. And I know you talked about the heavier songs, but can you just talk a little bit about, like, the methodology behind picking? Did you have any trouble picking what songs you were going to put on there?
Well, basically, you know, with my solo records, they're instrumental. And, you know, the last 4 records I put out are very much, it's acoustic, flamenco influenced Latin guitar music with like heavy metal shred, and I kind of mix it. That's always been the whole vibe of my records. But with this Living Shred record, I wanted it to be more just heavy, really no acoustic stuff. I think there's a couple intros that are acoustic, but for the most part, it's just all my real favorite heavy songs from all 4 of my records. So this is really geared towards the metalheads, and it's the songs that are like real heavy, shredding heavy, but a lot of breakdowns and, you know, a lot of headbanging music. So it's really catered for the metalheads out there. I think, you know, all the metalheads are really going to like this record that we released.
Oh, fantastic. I got one more Hail the Horns question to ask you. You know, as far as you said, you talked about you're going to do more covers and some new material. You know, mindset of yourself and the rest of the guys into the band. We all know that the full-length album is as far as a financial practicality, it's not really practical. We see more artists releasing singles at a time. What can we expect to see from you guys? Where's your mindset at? Are you still in the full-length album or maybe an EP? How is it going to work for Hail the Horns?
I think we'll do a full length when the time is right. You know, we first want to come out and just concentrate on touring and playing a lot of old Soulfly songs from the era that me and Tony were part of. You know, some Sepultura, Pantera, Slayer, all classics. Plus, we're going to play some of Tony's back catalog of Static X. You know, some Ministry, Fear Factory, Assassino, all the bands Tony was affiliated with. And we're just going to mix that up, you know, to make this super group metal party type of vibe. Nice. And then we do, like I said, we do plan on going into the studio and we will do a full length. I don't think, I think it'll come pretty easy to get into the studio and start writing music together. I don't think we're going to have any problems with that. So I think we'll knock out a full record probably come the new year.
Oh, fantastic. Set list wise, when this band goes out on the road, when we're talking about taking songs from Soulfly and Ministry and all the other bands that you've mentioned, coming down to a set list, and that's a library of music, a big one.
Exactly.
How do you guys narrow it down? And as far as number of songs on your set list, what do you guys kind of keep as far as a number goes?
I think we're going to headline at these shows. So I think we're looking to do about an hour and a half show. And we all, basically the way we planned this was we each picked 5 to 6 songs that each of us want to do. And that turns out to be like 15, 16 songs, which is about an hour and a half set. Mm-hmm. So Opus picked 5 of songs he wants to do. I'm picking 5 I want to do. Tony's picking 5 he wants to do. And then we'll probably throw in, 2 or 3 more extra. And that's just basically, it's going to be a band where everyone has equal say and everybody has, their own pick of songs that they want to do.
Oh, very good. And as far as you look at the future with Hail the Horns, I know that you have many sticks in the fire, but how do you look at this band? Do you look at it as a project? Is it going to be a one-off thing, or do you see this thing being a band for the future? Everybody kind of has different methodologies. They get involved with it. Hey, we're going to do this for the long term, then it ends up being 1 or 2 albums. Where's your headspace right now?
I think it's a serious project. We're all very serious about it. We all have other projects going on, so I think it's just going to be a matter of when everyone's free, we're going to go out and do Hail the Horns. Obviously, Tony's going to be very busy with Fear Factory and Static X next year. Opus is busy with Dead by Wednesday. As of now, I'm really busy doing my solo project, also Revenge Beast. So basically, just when we all can, agree to when we're free to work on it, we're going to get out there and do it. And I think it will be often. I really do. I think we're all going to have enough time to dedicate to this project and make it something really special.
Oh, so
yeah.
Cool.
What more can you tell us about Revenge Beast, or can you?
Yeah, so Revenge Beast is basically just like a full-blown old-school death metal style band. Definitely in tune with like Obituary, Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation. All my favorite death metal bands that I grew up on, Carcass, stuff like that. But we're trying to take that sound and run with it and make it even more groove oriented. Maybe even a little more technical, a lot more solos. And it's a great project. The guys that got in the band are super hungry. They're super talented, my guys, and we have a really great writing system where we're just banging songs out really fast in the studio. Like, we're not struggling with the writing process. Nice. Everybody is super talented at what they do. My singer Jason writes some of the best lyrics, and his vocals are some of the heaviest vocals I've ever heard in my life, man. I mean, the kid is just super talented at what he does. So we're gonna be flying with the recording. We're almost done with a full record, and we plan on getting out there and again doing shows when we can. Because my guys are also in a band called Purgatory Earth. So when they're free, we're going to dedicate a lot of time to Revenge Beast. But I think it's going to be real special too, this project. I think a lot of people are going to be very surprised by it. I really do.
Oh, fantastic. Well, since we're on Revenge Beast, can you kind of shed some light on the origins and the band members?
Yeah, so basically I met these are my buddies, Jason, Brandon, and Doug, and they're in a band called Purgatory Earth from Baltimore, Maryland. And it's funny, I basically met these guys after a Soulfly show. I was on tour with Soulfly. We played Baltimore. And anyone that knows me knows that after the show, I'm always around. I'm hanging out. I'm at the bar talking to fans, or, by the stage. I like being social. I like hanging out with people. I don't do that bullshit, fake, paid meet and greet bullshit. Yeah. I hang out with everybody. I enjoy meeting people and being social. So that's how I met these guys, basically, was they were just a bunch of cool dudes hanging out at the bar. And we just started talking music and metal. And they basically, followed me, I think, on Facebook, and we kept in touch. And they then booked my solo project down in Baltimore so they could open up for me. And we did a couple shows down in Baltimore that they booked, and they were a lot of fun. They jumped up, and I always invite people up at my solo gigs to play covers with me. So they jumped up and did some songs with me. And then they, maybe a year later, they asked me to produce their band, Purgatory Earth. So I went down to Baltimore for about a week, and they put me up at a hotel, and they booked a studio, and we did a full record that I produced for them and played some solos on, and we just became good friends, and working. And then again, when COVID hit, I basically asked them, I was like, hey guys, look, I'm looking to start like a super heavy death metal project. And at that time I was doing the vocals. And they were like, hell yeah, man. So we started sending tracks back and forth, and we started recording, like, I think we had like 2 Revenge Beast songs up on YouTube, and we were getting a lot of really good feedback. And then I basically decided, like, you know what, man, like, I could do vocals, but I really don't I don't enjoy writing lyrics. It's I mean, obviously I make instrumental guitar records, so it's like, it's just not my thing. I just don't, I'm not really a lyrical dude. It's not something I have any passion for. And their singer, Jason from Purgatory Earth, like, I started reading some of his lyrics. I'm like, dude, this kid is awesome. Like, he writes some really well thought out, intelligent, catchy lyrics, so, and he's got a great voice. So we had him sing on a couple of songs, and I said, bro, I want you to be the singer, man, and nice. I'm going to step down from that position, so that's how it happened. And we're just right now just recording a lot of stuff. We just finished a video that will be dropping probably in the next couple of weeks. So I'm really excited for that project too.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah. What's your guitar choice right now? Do you have like one main guitar that you play, or do you have a little arsenal?
You know what, man? I'm not supposed to, but I jump around a lot. Yeah. I have a signature with Washburn, a beautiful 7-string Les Paul shaped 7-string. Plays beautiful. I love it. I kind of lost contact with people over there. My rep, I think he quit. So I don't really. I gotta reach out to him. It's been a while, but I've also been playing a lot of the Diamond guitars, which make excellent stuff, and they've sent me out some great guitars. So I'm kind of like in between right now. I like mixing it up, man. I have a hard time sticking to playing one guitar. I really like to mess with different guitars and different tones, and it's something I'm passionate about. I just love all different types of guitars. But probably my favorite guitar of all time, honestly, is the Gibson SG. I mean, I'm so comfortable on a Gibson SG. So, we'll see what the future holds.
Well, so cool. Well, as we're talking about gear, I always ask this question all the time. So I think it was like last summer, I was listening to Jonesy's Jukebox, and he had Billy Gibbons on, and they're talking nice. Gear. And Jonesy asks Billy Gibbons, what gauge of strings you use, and he said 7s. And Jonesy, I think he fell off his stool in the studio when he answered that question. And exactly. And as we say that, Billy Gibbons' answer was, well, I was backstage one night and I had my guitar, and B.B. King walks in and started noodling around on his guitar, and I think he was using 10s or 12s or something like that.
Sure.
And BB says, why do you work so hard? And he gave up a pack of 7s, and Billy Gibbons never went back to anything above a 7. But anyway, what gauge size string do you use?
I try to stick with just 10s. I'm real comfortable. I don't like them too light, because then they pop a lot and they don't stay in tune as good. But for me, I like being tuned to standard E, and if I go lower, I use my 7-string. So I just I like 10s, and for the 7th string, I'll put something on a little bit thicker for more tension to keep that 7th string in tune. But 10s are good, man. Or 11s. I can play on 11s too, but I don't like to go any thicker or any lighter than that.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. I know we were just going to lightly touch on Soulfly, but during pre-pandemic, can you just say or talk about like one of your highlight tours for like what's a memorable moment for you touring with Soulfly?
Honestly, man, looking back at the 18 years I was in Soulfly, my most memorable moments, honestly, was just the respect from the fans. How they welcomed me when I first joined. Mm-hmm. They recognized my hard work of really trying to bring Max back to that thrash metal, the Beneath the Remains, Arise, Sepultura era.
Yes.
I think all the fans really recognized that was my influence on the band was driving the band back to that classic thrash sound. And when we would go out and play those Sepultura records in their entirety or play old Sepultura songs, how I always honored Andreas Kisser's solos and his playing. I always tried to play note for note because Andreas was always one of my favorite guitarists back in the day, and my favorite part of Sepultura was his leads and his riffs, you know. So that respect from the fans, you know, that really is, when I look back, my favorite part of being in that band was that the fans always were very welcoming to me and very respectful towards me, and even when I left, you know, I was very overwhelmed by all the love I got. I thought it was going to be more like 50-50, you know, but it really, the fans really like stepped up for me and really supported me during this whole split. So a big thank you to all the fans. You know, I'm a fan too. So I think that's why we have so much in common, me and the fans, because I'm a fan just like them. And I think everybody always wanted to see Max get back to that old school Sepultura thrash sound. And I had a major part of bringing the band back into that sound. So, you know, that respect from the fans is something that I really cherish. And, you know, I think they're still coming out to my shows to support me. And I can't thank the fans enough for all that support.
Oh, nice. So cool. Yeah. You know, in today's music landscape, you know, how do you view yourself? Obviously, you're a very well-established solo artist. And I guess we kind of, as we look in the future for you down the line, do you feel yourself or view yourself as a solo artist that's kind of for hire, you know, like the hired gun type thing, or do you still yearn to have that be a part of the band, equal part?
You know, it just depends on the situation, but honestly, I really, you know, I love doing my solo project. And it's really just because I am a fanatic for the guitar. You know, I'm obsessed with the instrument. I'm obsessed with instrumental guitar music. All I really listen to, honestly, is instrumental guitar music, like Satriani, Eric Johnson, Steve Vai, Yngwie Malmsteen. You know, I mean, that's my favorite type of music, is instrumental guitar music. So I consider myself, first and foremost, I hate to use the word, but solo artist. You know, it's just the way my mind thinks is the guitar first. I'm just obsessed, and with the instrument, I have so much love and passion for it. And then, you know, if I like a band and I like working with people, then sure, I would love to do more type of situations where maybe I am a hired gun, or collaborate with people, you know. So now that I'm free and I'm not doing Soulfly, my schedule has really opened up a lot now. And I welcome, you know, any sort of collaborations with anyone. You know, people can hit me up online, and you know, I do a lot of guest solos on people's records, of all different type of size bands. So, you know, people could just hit me up, man. I'm free.
Fantastic.
Come say what's up.
Just talk a little bit about like that first solo album, and what was it like, you know, going out on your own, and was it scary, or were you ready? Were you ready to conquer the world?
You know what, man, it was really weird, because when I put out my first solo record, it was on Shrapnel Records, which is like a very established, you know, instrumental shredder label. Mike Varney, the president of Shrapnel, you know, that I grew up on that label. He discovered Yngwie Malmsteen. He signed all the great players. So honestly, out of all the things I've done, that's one of the achievements I'm most proud of, was signing with Mike Varney and getting his attention to want to put out my solo records. And what's funny is I had just left El Nino, and I was working on my solo record, but it was originally, my solo record was just going to be all acoustic guitar stuff, you know, like flamenco influences and Latin jazz and stuff like that. And then Mike Varney got a hold of one of my demos, and he said that he loved it. He wanted to put it out, but could I add some more metal to it? Because I had one song on the demo that was a mixture of like flamenco influences with heavy metal. And he said he wanted more of that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, man. You know, but like I hadn't really, like, my metal skills, like I kind of, you know, I was coming from El Nino, where I didn't really do a lot of solos. So I had to brush up on that stuff. It had been years since I like really did shred type stuff. But I really, like, I felt the pressure of it. So I remember going into the studio for my first record and just really, really just working very hard and practicing my ass off to get my chops up to par with all the greats that were on Shrapnel, you know. And I love that record, man. Colossal Myopia was a very, very important record for me. It opened up my eyes to being able to do stuff on a solo artist level, because I never dreamed that I would sign with Mike Varney at Shrapnel Records and make instrumental records and then hit the road and tour solo. So it was a very, very huge achievement for me personally.
Oh, so cool. As you get older, and how do you feel that your style has evolved over the years? Do you feel like your writing has matured as far as performing, writing your own music?
I definitely think I've definitely gotten a lot better on guitar, especially in the shred vibe and things I want to achieve. I'm put a lot of hard work in, and I'm starting now to feel like, cool, man. Like, I'm starting to feel good about my playing. Finally, Took a long time. But as far as songwriting, songwriting for me comes very, I don't want to brag, but it's not something I struggle with, man. I mean, basically the minute I pick up a guitar, I can come up with something, it's just a passion I have for the instrument. So I don't even really I don't like when it comes to writing, it's when I'm making a record, that's when I start writing. And I love writing just as much as I love going out and playing live. I just have a real passion for both elements of being a musician. And, writing again is just something that I love to do. And I feel it comes easy. And yes, I feel like I am getting better at writing, especially with the instrumental stuff, because in the beginning I was a little, how do you write an instrumental song? Now I really feel like I honed in on it and I'm ready to make my next solo record.
Yeah,
so cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just going to ask you a little bit about, you alluded that you were singing earlier in one of your projects. I think it was the Revenge Beast.
Yeah.
Have you dabbled a lot with the singing, or is that something you want to explore more?
So basically what happened was when I started touring, doing my solo project, I originally had a singer who would sing. I would just throw in cover songs, some Pantera, some Slayer, some Sepultura, some Soulfly, in between my instrumental stuff, just to make it, so it's not all instrumental at my shows. He basically flaked out on me, wasn't available anymore. And then I just basically one day was like, all right, man, I guess I'll just do it, and it's something that I don't feel I'm very good at, but I have developed it over the years now. And it's just, I just do the growling thing, it's more hardcore style. And I enjoy doing it for cover songs. Again, as far as going in and writing lyrics and writing my own stuff, it's not something I really have any interest in doing. But at my solo gigs, to break up the instrumental songs a little bit, I do throw in some of the Soulfly songs that I was part of, Sepultura, some Slayer, Pantera, and I think it makes for an exciting show when I throw in all those cover songs.
Nice.
Very good. And you spoke about the writing process for you. You love to do it. Could you ever see yourself down the line writing music for scoring a film or anything like that, or television? What is your thought process when it comes to that?
I would love to do that. If anyone has any contacts, please send them my way. I write instrumental music, and especially a lot of my acoustic stuff. I watch movies and shows all the time where I'm like, man, my music would be perfect for this stuff. So I really, really hope in the future that I can link up with somebody that can get me into that realm of the music business, because I would love to write for movies and TV shows. I would just love it.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Well, we had a couple of years ago, we had Steve Stevens on from Billy Idol fame. And he had an interesting quote from us, and you might have the same type of philosophy. I don't know. But from a guy like that, he said to us, he wakes up every morning, grabs a cup of coffee, and he looks at one of his guitars, whichever one it is. And he says to his guitar, "What are you going to teach me today?" And I found that to be very inspiring for new musician, from a established guitar player like Steve Stevens, saying that guitar is always going to teach me something new every day. Is your mindset kind of the same way?
Well, first, I love Steve Stevens. He's an incredible guitar player, and we have a mutual love for flamenco. He's an incredible flamenco player. So that's great you brought him up. Dude, let me tell you, man, every day I fall more in love with the guitar. It's really unbelievable. I've been playing since I was 8 years old, and I just I'm every day. It's true. You learn something new every day. The inspiration when I watch other players play, like Steve Stevens or Eric Johnson, the minute I hear these guys, I have to run to the guitar and play. And there's not a day in my life that goes by where I don't play guitar, man. It's just, I'm obsessed with the instrument. It's such an incredible, expressive instrument. And I just can't stop playing. I can't stop talking about the instrument, man. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, yes, every day I do try to learn something new. I'm always on YouTube and watching other players and trying to be influenced by other people's playing and learn new techniques and music.
Oh, so cool.
Well, you just alluded to starting out at about 8 years old. Can you give us some of our listeners that might not have heard your story, how you got started and your beginnings in guitar?
I grew up in such a great era to pick up the guitar because it was in 1986. I was 8 years old, and I'll never forget what made me want to play guitar was two things. I had an older brother who was about 7 years older than me that was already in high school, and he was coming home, with cassettes of like old Metallica and Slayer and Megadeth, and we were obsessed with all that, the whole thrash metal thing and the guitar playing, and then Led Zeppelin and a lot of the 70s rock. So I really grew up on such a great era for guitar music, and then there was also that movie Back to the Future that came out, and there was that scene where Michael J. Fox, he shreds out, at the high school dance, and it just influenced me I was like, man, I got to learn how to play guitar. So that was, to me, that was the golden era, man, was in the 80s, man. Like everybody wanted to be a guitar player. Everybody in my neighborhood was a metalhead, and everybody at least tried to play guitar and took a couple lessons, man. It just was, it was the coolest thing you could do was play guitar. It was the era of Eddie Van Halen and all the hair metal bands, and it just was such an incredible era. And I'm so glad I grew up during that era because I started with a lot of 70s and 60s classic rock and then got into the whole 80s shred thrash thing. And I feel like that really has always influenced my playing is that bluesy, 70s Hendrix, Zeppelin, Cream mixed with, the metal. I try to always play with a blues kind of feel with everything I do.
Oh, so cool. Yeah. All right, so I have one last question for you, then we're done bothering you for the night. Is that a deal? So, the mystery of rock and roll was always a thing. Hit Parader magazine, Circus magazine, Rolling Stone, you name it. The only way you could learn anything about a musician was maybe get a brief interview on MTV, or you had to read the article in one of the rock and roll magazines. And,
I remember that.
Yeah, you know how it goes. I mean, I had a stack full of Hit Paraders and Rolling Stones and Circus. You name it, I had it. In all the other skate magazines that had, the metal punk rock ads for the new albums that come out. You named it, I had it. But anyway, social media has kind of brought the end to the mystery of rock and roll and heavy metal and punk rock, and you name it, it's over because the cat's out of the bag, the elephant's in the room. Everybody goes poop the same way, and everybody eats pizza the same way for the most part. But, what is your preference in today's landscape? Do you enjoy the accessibility? You've talked about it briefly, like you go out and do the meet and greet. You don't really do any official meet and greet. You just sit at a bar and have a beer with a fan. But do you prefer the accessibility that technology has given us, or do you miss that mystery of rock and roll?
I do miss the mystery. I started playing back in the 80s, and it was such a golden era. I mean, I'm probably going to sound like an old man, but I mean, it really was incredible, dude. There definitely was a mystery. There was an excitement. Back in those days, you couldn't go on YouTube to check out some new band. Like, you had to go to the show, and there was this aura and this excitement before the band took the stage, dude. I mean, it was just an incredible time to be into music. But on the flip side, the technology, I don't listen to music like on Spotify. I still listen to cassettes,
Exactly.
I still listen to CDs, but the accessibility to music is really pretty cool. But obviously there's also the downfalls of it. It's sad that musicians are not really being, making the money that they should be making off these downloads and all the streaming and stuff like that. So it's a double-edged sword, man. I think it's cool for bands to get their music out there. It's a lot easier to get your music out there and be heard because of the internet. But yes, the mystery and the excitement, I feel like, is not like what it was when I was a kid.
And I couldn't agree with you more. And the reason why I bring that to the forefront was because I always go back to my very first concert. my dad took me to go see the Greg Allman Band and Stevie Ray Vaughan on the same bill.
Wow.
And
Excellent.
I look back on that. I think it was 86 or 8. I think it was 87.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And Stevie Ray Vaughan came onto the stage with the Indian headdress on and what have you, and
Sure.
it was almost like surreal to see something like that. And that to be your first concert. And it just feels like now when you go to shows, people don't have that same awe that they used to have because of social media.
It's true, man. It really is. I remember going to shows like in the early 90s, mid 90s, and it just was mayhem. The pits were insane, the excitement, and now it's like, people, the vibe is not as exciting as it used to be when I was a kid. But, it is what it is. This is, things change, and obviously technology changes. You just got to roll with it, man, and I know I'm still excited about music like I was when I was a kid. So, hopefully I can pass that excitement to the fans.
And you're doing a hell of a job of it, man. Well, hey, we want to thank you so much for your participation.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, and so before we let you go tonight, is there anything that we did not cover tonight that you would like to plug or promote?
No, I think that's about it, man. Just, talking about my solo stuff, Revenge Beast and Hail the Horns, and for everybody to just go check out all our social media, all the bands I'm in have a YouTube channel. They can follow me on all my social media. I'm on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. That's where they can really stay updated with all my projects.
Oh,
and then just a big thank you to all the fans, man. It's really these last couple months, this last year has been super stressful for me, and the support from the fans has just been very much overwhelming, man. I can't thank the fans enough.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. You were fantastic.
I know. This has been fun.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, hopefully we'll see you in November in Des Moines. We're in the Quad Cities, and Des Moines about 3 hours away. So, hopefully we
I think
can get
you're in Illinois a couple times, so one of those maybe we'll have to.
Yeah, we'll try to head up to see you. All right, man?
All right, guys. Yeah, we'll see you then. We'll hang.
Hey, take care of yourself, man.
All right, man. You too, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Later.
pulls the plug and says their last goodbyes. Move to the sunshine, fight the grip of nights. If they ever take